Well, he won the Iowa Caucuses in 2008. Can he do it again this time? Joining us right now is the former governor of Arkansas, presidential candidate, and friend of this program because he used to work here, Mike Huckabee. Good morning to you, Governor.
Good morning, Steve. And let me wish you a belated happy birthday. In our part of the world, banks and post offices and schools were all closed in honor of your birthday yesterday. I just wanted you to know that.
And Governor, if you become president, will this be a national holiday?
You know, it already is in many parts of America, but we will make it so across the rest of the country if I'm president. That's reason enough to get Steve's vote.
You know what? True story. I was actually born in Algona, Iowa. Iowa's having the caucuses. Yes. How are you going to win Iowa just like you did in 2008?
Well, the same way we did before, and that is that you have to win it from the ground up. There's no shortcut to winning Iowa. A lot of people will go and buy a lot of media. 8 years ago, we were outspent 10-1, 10-1, and I won with the largest number of votes that has ever been received by an Iowa caucus voter or contest in the entire history of the Iowa caucus. So when people say, well, you know, how are you going to win Iowa? I'm going to tell you the same way we did it before. And what you have to do is to build a ground game. You have to get people. This isn't about going and voting for 5 minutes on the way home from work. A caucus is an intense process where people have to be very serious. They go, they spend several hours in probably a drafty schoolroom, and we're building the ground game and have the largest ground operation of any of the campaigns in both Iowa and South Carolina.
Of course. Something on a voter's minds always weighing heavily is Social Security. How would a President Huckabee save it?
Well, the first thing I do is promise the American people we're not going to steal their money all these years and then lie to them about that it'll be there. We have to protect Social Security for a host of reasons, not the least of which is it's the integrity of the country on the line. This is not the government's money. This isn't welfare. This isn't an entitlement. This is an earned benefit. If you put money into your local bank in a savings account, and then you went to your bank and said, okay, I'd like to make a withdrawal, and they said, you know what, we've spent that money. We gave it to some other people, and we don't have it anymore. I'm sorry. We're just going to have to cut your savings account. What do you think would happen to that bank? They'd go out of business. I mean, Bernie Madoff is sitting in jail. People had their money taken from their paychecks every time they had a paycheck. That money was deposited supposedly for their account. Now I hear many of the Republicans, they talk about let's have a cut, let's have a change, let's do this. Look, I want to be very clear. If I'm president, I'm not going to do what a lot of the Republican candidates are talking about, and that's go cut the benefits, make it so that people have to work longer and lose what they have paid in for because it is their money. A couple of quick things. 70 million Americans depend on some form of Social Security, 60 million with actual Social Security, another 10 million disabled veterans. They are not getting a cost of living adjustment this coming year. But guess who is? Congress. Congress is getting an increase. Now, that's just not right.
It's absolutely not right. And I will say this in the big picture. People want to know if the money's going to be there. They also want to know where the money's going to come from. And should billionaires who don't need it get it? Should there be a line where you say, well, you obviously don't need a means test. I mean, Donald Trump obviously doesn't need that. You know, Jack Welch doesn't need that. What about that?
Sliding scale?
Sure. Look, I understand when people say they don't need it, but is it the government's job to tell me what I need and don't need? If Donald Trump and Jack Welch and Warren Buffett want to write a check to the government, if they want to say don't send me a Social Security check, that's fine. They have the right to do that. But it is not the government's job to tell me what I need and don't need. Means testing is fundamentally wrong because it is not the government's money. I want to go back to that point. If it were the government's money and they said, look, you don't need it because you don't need Medicaid, I get that. Right. But this isn't Medicaid. This is Social Security.
And it's your money.
Seniors have a right to expect they're going to get it.
You put that money in for years, you should get it. Yeah. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, it looks like, Governor, is on the verge of making an announcement in public to all of us. What do you think about Joe Biden running for president? What does that mean?
Well, I'm not sure that it's maybe too late for Joe to get in because Hillary has a strong, strong organization. And I know everybody talks about all the problems. Look, I have dealt with the Clintons in a political way for over 26 years, and I've known them all my life. People need to realize these are incredibly gifted, talented, and ruthless political players. And anybody who says, well, Joe gets into the race and everything changes and Hillary's in trouble, don't bet on it.
Well, it could be Obama versus Clinton through a surrogate, don't you think?
It could be. I mean, I don't think anybody pretends that Obama and Bill Clinton and or Hillary Clinton are big buds and they go hang out together and watch football on the weekends. I believe deep down Obama would rather see Biden follow him up, but it won't be his choice. And so no matter what happens, I think Joe's going to come in late, an affable guy, but also a gaffable guy. And that's one of the things that'll start being a problem. When he's vice president, he makes some of these crazy statements. People sort of shrug it off and laugh, and it's funny. When you are a candidate for president, everything you say will be twisted, turned, spun 1,000 different ways, and it's a whole different animal at that point.
Absolutely. All right. Governor Mike Huckabee joining us today from beautiful, the Panhandle, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. Governor, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck out on the trail.
Thank you. Good to talk to you guys.
And then next week's debate.